Sanctions are stalling Russia's Su-57 fighter jet production due to reliance on Western components, particularly electronics. While the US and allies continue delivering F-35s, Russia struggles to build even a few Su-57s. This setback in modernization keeps the Russian Air Force lagging far behind its Western counterparts. This is a great article by David Axe, published by British Telegraph, regarding the Russian problems in production of the Su-57 fighter. In Russia, production of the Sukhoi Su-57 stealth fighter, NATO reporting name Felon, has stalled. And there's one main reason why. It's clear that Russia's military industry heavily depends on Western components, particularly in electronics, explained Frontelligence Insight, a Ukrainian analysis group. Sanctions put into place by Western governments in the 31 months since Russia widened its war on Ukraine have throttled the supply of this critical hardware. As a result, production of the Su-57 is in jeopardy, Frontelligence Insight concluded. A big, fast fighter with radar-evading qualities, the single-seat, twin-engine Su-57 is Russia's answer to the United States Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. It's meant to replace old Mikoyan MiG-29s and Sukhoi Su-27s and variants in Russian Air Force service. The Su-57 first flew in 2010, 20 years after the Raptor, the world's first fifth-generation stealth fighter, first flew. Over the next decade, Sukhoi's workers hand-built 10 test models. And in 2019, the Kremlin signed a contract for 76 production jets, apparently for around $50 million per copy. But where Lockheed churns out more than 150 fifth-gen F-35s a year, Sukhoi has struggled to produce a fraction of that number. The Russian firm delivered the first 10 production Su-57s to the Air Force in 2022 and another 11 in 2023. So far this year, Sukhoi reportedly has handed over just a few additional planes. And in the meantime, the Russian Air Force has lost 2 Su-57s, 1 test model and a production jet, to crashes. A Ukrainian drone strike on Russia's Akhtubinsk State Flight Test Center in southern Russia in June destroyed at least 1 additional Su-57 on the ground. It's possible that 14 years after the type's first flight, there are slightly more than 30 Su-57s in the Russian inventory, a third of them test models potentially lacking some of the planned electronics. That's a paltry force for an air arm that deploys around 1,000 frontline fighters, and which has lost 100 of them in action over Ukraine since February 2022. Strikingly, the delivery rate for new Su-57s seems to have dropped a lot between 2023 and 2024. Normally, delivery rates for new fighter types increase year on year for a given multi-year order as workers gain experience and economies of scale kick in. The Su-57 is an exception to that rule. It's apparent that, with targeted sanctions, the United States and its allies have blunted the Russian Air Force's modernization. Scrutinizing Russian documents, Frontelligence Insight discovered some of the main bottlenecks, including an attenuator called the WA-36 and power supplies designated PLR-76012 and EAPS-3150. These components are part of the MPPU-50, a German-made device for calibrating the communication systems on the Su-57, where once Sukhoi could legally import MPPU-50s and parts for MPPU-50s, now it must acquire them illicitly from third parties. Considering that Russian military production continued to expand in 2023 and 2024, it's clear that they find ways to smuggle key components or purchase Chinese replacements to maintain production, Frontelligence Insight noted. But the illegal importation takes time, effort, and money, and has slowed the production rate for new Su-57s and likely increased the per-plane cost. As long ago as 2020, at least one Russian commentator was urging the Kremlin to reconsider its aviation modernization plan. Instead of trying to make a dozen gold Su-57s over the course of several years, you can replace the old MiG-29s with new MiG-35s, an updated MiG-29, with modern avionics, excellent weapons, and the Juk radar with an active phased array, the commentator wrote for VPK, which covers the Russian defense industry. In addition, the MiG-35 has become more economical, which is also of great importance, the commentator added. The case against the Su-57, and for renewed production of older and simpler jet types, is even stronger now that Russian industry is struggling to source critical foreign components. But even a Russian pivot to less sophisticated fighters would represent a kind of victory for Russia's foes. The Su-57 program was supposed to help the Russian Air Force catch up to the US Air Force. But it's taking so long for Sukhoi to build a tiny number of Su-57s that the Americans are actually pulling farther ahead, technologically speaking. The US Air Force is already defining requirements for a new stealth fighter to replace its 180 F-22s. This new next-generation air dominance fighter could take flight before the Russians finally take delivery of the 76th and last Su-57 from that initial production order.
Action.
Russia lost an Mi-8 helicopter on the Kharkiv front, said the General Staff of Ukraine. The Ukrainian 4th Battalion's Sila Svobody shares a video of a repelling Russian attack in the Donetsk region on 24th of May 2024. This video is not the work of several months. This is a record of a single powerful attack on Ukrainian positions. 25 killed, 2 cars, 3 MTLBs, 1 tank. Russian channels are reporting an increase in Ukrainian artillery activity, even suggesting a possible large-scale offensive. According to them, European powers are keeping their word in supplying ammunition to Ukraine. Based on the realities observed directly in the Special Military Operations Zone, European countries have not only failed to stop, but have significantly increased the supply of artillery ammunition to the Ukrainian armed forces. The information suggesting that the enemy's artillery is experiencing a shortage of ammunition does not reflect reality. Moreover, we continue to report and identify signs that the enemy is preparing for a full-scale offensive. Polish General Rajmund Andrzejczak. If Russia attacks even an inch of Lithuanian territory, the response will come immediately. Not on the first day, but in the first minute. We will hit all strategic targets within a radius of 300 kilometers. We will attack St. Petersburg directly. He said it in the context of a possible defeat of Ukraine. In case of a Russian victory in Ukraine, we would have a Russian division in Lviv, 1 in Brest, and 1 in Grodno. Poland and Lithuania would then be surrounded by Russian forces. Russia must realize that an attack on Poland or the Baltic countries will also be its end.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.